So, hi everybody, a very good evening, good morning. Hi, how you doing? I'm Jashi Kapani. I'm the founder and CEO of I'm Decor Design. We are in the business of designing and manufacturing home and office decor and interior solutions and stuff. And it's a Sunday. It's a relaxed one. It had to be slow, obviously, because the previous night you all know it's a Sunday. So I'm sure everybody's having fun and a blast. Friends and family who are interested in sports and stuff. I'm hoping you're having a great time playing your game and your sports and stuff. Those other engaged in mindfulness and prayer activities. They've gone to the church or the temple or whatever Buddhism that they follow, like me, must have done their prayers by now. And the others were kind of making use of the day to clean up and to unwind and to chill and stuff and plan their weekend and everything and to rejuvenate and relax, which I'm doing now because most of my Saturdays or Sundays are normally happening in something or the other, which is, there because I like to stay active and go out and stuff. So we don't have the drum circle today and stuff. But anyways, what is my thought share all about? So I'm bringing to you a few thoughts on, this topic which has appeared in the paper today. And as I'm from a retail background and I'm also from branding, global PR, marketing, and communication, online shopping is something which a lot of families and youth and children and corporate people are involved in and stuff. And just as the WhatsApp fever or the work on the phone fever had picked up, a lot of families, including youth, I've seen so many people in my own circle, friends, family, cousins, or whatever, shopping. My parents and stuff. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. The whole world does it, but the point is this that. Do you know the bad effects of online work and shopping and stuff? So if you want to be aware about it, if you want to be informed about it, and without really linking it and just being educated about it, you must read this article, which is on page 15, Times of India. It is kind of educating everybody on how your brain slows down because of being on the phone and doing online work. So, to be honest and candid, we can't blame entrepreneurs and we can't blame visionaries and we can't blame technology heads and stuff like Mark Zuckerberg and a few other people because they've given us some amazing technology and some amazing creativity and amazing forums here which are connecting us to the world and helping us in our businesses and putting us, with thought shares and awareness and stuff like that. But the point is this that we must be aware that what is the result of that if we are overdoing it. Okay, so you must read that article. I'm also sharing something which is related to social media, and it's talking about how is social media making you feel fearful. Anxiety is too generic. I mean, it's from person to person. Everybody doesn't have anxiety, and I think it's a casual term which people use, but it shouldn't be all about anxiety and stuff. There is positive stress, there is negative stress and stuff, and there are the repercussions on your emotions or how you're feeling and stuff as a result of being on social media. So this is a true story. This is a 28-year-old girl called Ruchika Mehra, a marketing professional from a media company, and she went in to talk to a therapist because she was making enough money, she was paying enough of her rent, and she had enough money on her side. And she would go on vacations with her friends and her family and everything, and she was experimenting with dating and everything. She was very warm, vibrant, articulate, and confident and stuff, and had a sense of clarity about reasons for being. Why should she be in therapy and stuff? But the reason why she was in therapy was that when she would kind of get into the office, she would get into the social media blues. She would consistently check pictures of people everywhere across the world and stuff. She would have bad experiences. And she says, to be honest, it had taken me 6 months to get out of social media and understand that it was a frivolous problem, that before doing anything else, most of my colleagues and I would kind of look into the social media world. And when we were in a meeting or when we were in a business thing or whatever, we would be frivolously checking our phone, and we were working on it at least 15 hours a day. day. 15 hours is quite a lot, okay? These are during the, action times of campaigns and stuff like that. She says, now, in my own words, I feel addicted to my phone. There's an obsessive urge to check my phone consistently when I'm around my friends and family. Because I work for a media company, I can't give up on social media. My creativity and my work has dropped, and I'm consistently forgetting stuff. And I used to be a person who would read 4 books to at least 8 books in a year or a few months, and I've not even read a single book so far. And as I go through people's Instagram stories on the loop, I feel educate, and I feel like a failure because my career is flourishing and I'm proud of what I've accomplished. But I have these micro moments of comparison where my okay, so the word she's using is anxiety is going into a spiral, and I wonder sometimes, is it only happening to me or is it happening to other people? So I would say that this is actually a case of stress. Why am I talking about it? Because obviously, with the kind of stuff I did on social media and stuff like that, even I got into this stress thing. And none of us know when the stress can happen to us, because people link it to work, people link it to too much of traveling, people link it to too much of being on social media, people link it to too much of thinking or doing and stuff like that. But the point is, the reality check is everybody is doing stuff, and it may be age related or whatever, but at least in my case it was actually related to the quality of the programs that I was seeing. And the moment I've kind of unhooked and I've started spending more time, exercising and being in my own zone, in my own space, and not paying attention to the coup or to my hurt or whatever, I'm feeling much better. And the point is this, that I related to this girl because I see so many children and youth sharing this with me. So I have a friend, she's in the marketing job and she goes to Gurgaon, and she leaves in the morning at 8:30 and she comes back at what, 9:30, 10, and then she sleeps off, and then she's again doing stuff and she's in the office again. But she doesn't have any of these doses or signs of social media issues and stuff like that, because she only does social media work when she's in the office, and after that she's in the real world and she's kind of spending time with her parents and her family and stuff like that. So the point is this, that when you take a look at the snapshot of people's life, you feel that they're having a blast, they're having a gala time, and their circles must be so great, the family and everything must be so great, they must have had so much of money and stuff like that, and the richest people, so they must be like really kicking it and loving it and stuff. But many of us have to acknowledge the fact that corona happened, and a lot of people went bankrupt and broke and stuff like that, and lots of people have now come out of it and stuff, and they're still working on it. So life is unpredictable around career and around health and stuff. So forming opinions around how rich a person is or how amazing a person's life and something is, which most people do. And in my own circle of community in my neighborhood, there are people who open up and say, when I see other people having a holiday in expensive places, I get really jealous. And I say, but the point is, what is the jealousy all about? I mean, maybe you can just take a holiday and not compare your life to anybody. And that's what they did. They went for a holiday to Goa. They came back totally rejuvenated, recharged and stuff. But the point is, you feel all kinds of emotions and stuff like that. So stop comparing. And if you really feel these emotions of, let's say, jealousy or comparison stuff, start focusing on it and start doing the stuff yourself. That's the best thing you can do. And she says that as I quit and I started kind of reducing my time on social media. I was happy with my life, and I thought, whom have I been fooling? I mean, I've been following pages of the world and stuff like that. I've been following people and personalities around and stuff. It's nice to know them, it's nice to hang around with them and stuff, but I think I kind of lost a balance of social media. Everything was happening online. I was ordering my food online, I was ordering my drinks online, I was ordering my books online, I was ordering my furniture online, I was ordering my clothes online, I was ordering everything online. And what happened is, as a result of that, I got less social and I stopped going to the malls and other places and stuff. And that's where I normally emphasize on the fact that live your life offline and make it a point to be in places where you have people around you, you have fun around you, you are enjoying the weather, you're spending time in open spaces and stuff. Because being too much on technology and looking into other people's businesses and lives can have a real unhappy rub off on you and stuff like that. So I'm leaving you on this thought that we can't blame people, and it's not always anxiety. It can be positive stress and stuff. And the point is, when people talk too much about anxiety, yes, somebody may have an anxiety, but the point is, there are lots of people around the world, and I see. I'm not talking about people who are working as therapists and stuff, but I see around me wrong diagnosis happening, and some real shit and filth being shared around it because people don't have it, and because people like to believe that they know it all, and they are kind of in the circle, they share about it, they talk about it, they kind of make you live in the fear that you could get it, and that's what they bank on and they play on. And I'll relate it to my health concerns and stuff, the way they scared me around my teeth, the way they scared me around my leg, the way they scared me around my back and stuff. But the point is, it takes intelligence to know that if you're going to listen to one point of view or one person's perspective in your family or in a hospital, it may not be the right one. And you have to take alternative opinions and stuff like that. I remind people this, because I've seen this happening in businesses, even in my gym. Guys were told that, they may have a broken back and they're not supposed to exercise, and there's something wrong with them and stuff. And I was like, but if you had an issue, you wouldn't be kind of working out for more than 6 months or 8 months if it was that bad. So the point is, certain people and businesses are flourishing and happening, and they're impacting fear, and they're actually playing on it. Like even in corona we saw that, so they promote negative, they tell you this could happen, that could happen. And if something has happened 10 years back, why is it that I have to talk about it now? I mean, I'm not a victim of my past, that it happened to me 10 years back, so I should share about it and talk about it and get into that circle of discussing it and stuff in the name of getting therapy or whatever. Because actually, even my friends who had some marital problems and stuff, they went to a therapist. It took only 2 sessions to tell the lady that you may have some unresolved, what was the word that they used, baggage. But the point is, you don't need to be in a serious community or a hospital or in a series of discussions to sort out your issues and stuff. It just took 2-3 sessions and she was sorted, and we're the best of friends now. When we meet up, we still talk about it and stuff. So the point is this, that linking what mental health experts, some of them are selling you online, doesn't work. And it doesn't have to be linked to your childhood, it doesn't have to be linked to your parents, it doesn't have to be linked to your spouses or your relatives or whatever, because everybody's relationships are different, and the logic of one mental health expert can actually be argued and debated by the second person and stuff. So that's that. So the point is, the book is damn interesting. It's also written by a psychologist and stuff, and she's also sharing this, that start reading, start writing, start start journaling, and kind of get into positive activities and make it a habit to not talk about whatever failed in your life and stuff, because sometimes you become a victim of that. And I shared this yesterday. If you want to have a closure and you keep talking about what went wrong with you and who did what to you, you'll never be able to move on from it. And it doesn't take a therapist, or it doesn't take rocket science. Even people who in the corporate world will tell you that. Like, I had some family friends who came over, and we were talking about some bad experiences, and they're both in their 60s and 70s, and they had the same thing to say, that yes, if you want to forget something and you keep reading about it or talking about it, you're never going to be able to come out of it. Okay, so that's that. तो पंजाबी and हिंदी में कहते हैं मिट्टी पाओ तो आगे बढ़ो. What they say is that put some dust on it and move on from it. Okay, so that's that. And I think I shared yesterday this 32-year-old lady's experience also, that where she's taken responsibility for her actions and how she's feeling and stuff. And because she stopped listening to what was being told to her by her family, because that's the way they were seeing her, she was feeling less stressful, and she was actually making space to be less angry and feeling more kinder towards herself and stuff. Okay, so love and luck, and take care and have fun, have a blast, enjoy yourself, and activate your senses. Enjoy this amazing coffee. I just finished it off. Enjoy some nice music, enjoy writing down, and enjoy kind of being off social media and stuff, and enjoy maintaining a discipline around it, because we can't do without technology. If we are going to be in the office and we were in journalism, or we were in creativity, we were in design, architecture, advertising, and everything, we are going to be on the computer. So escaping it and calling it all negative will not work. You have to make your own mindset and your own outlook stronger than social media. So love and I can take care, have fun. jkapani@gmail.com, jashinkapani.im at gmail.com, jashinkapani office at gmail.com. Encourage your family and your people to please step out and not do online shopping too much in the name of sharing about the promotions and stuff like that. Companies will not stop it, because for them it's a good business model and stuff, and they're giving you good services and convenience. But the point is, how is it affecting children? How is it affecting elders? How is it affecting you? How is it affecting people and couples and stuff and families and everything, is something which is of concern. So draw the line. And if you have to throw the phone away, do that. If you have to lock up the phone, do that. If there is a retaliation or there's an argument or a fight happening on that, let it happen. The point is, pick up the phone and put some deadlines on it for your family, for your children, and for yourself. So love and luck and take care. Have fun. Bye bye. Cheers.